What is going on, guys? Infinity Cow here, and welcome back to another JoJo tier list video. Today I'm going to be making another JoJo tier list, and this one is going to be the top JoJo villains as requested by Paula Montagu. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but thank you very much for that comment. It was very helpful in coming up with new ideas because I'm pretty slow. But anyways, let's get on to the JoJo villain tier list. So our candidates here are Dio from part 1. We have Valentine, Poochie, Diablo, Kira, Cars, AC/DC, Wamu, and I don't know why, but Kakyoin is here, and Toru is not. Toru, if you didn't know, is the villain from part 8. So you know what, we're just going to say that Kakyoin is Toru. That definitely looks like Toru. You can definitely see where I'm coming from. But anyways, let's get into ranking these villains, shall we? So of course we're gonna start from part 1 because chronological order, it's very nice for my brain. So here we have part 1 Dio. Now part 1 Dio is kind of a bitch. He does start the whole Joestar bloodline type thing and the birthmark and whatnot, but I think he's a pretty weak villain. But just because he like starts the whole story, I can't put him any lower than B. In fact, I think I have to put him at A. Putting him at A is fair, right? I'm not dumb, am I? No, that's totally fair. Anyway, so now we have the part 2 villains. So we have Cars, Wamu, and AC/DC. So let me just get them up in here. There we go. Oh, wait. Get over there. Get over there. All right, there we go. So now, obviously, I'm not going to start off with Cars because he's like the big, thick boy. So I'm going to start off with Wamu. I think this is Wamu, right? I really can't tell. I'm just going to say that's Wamu. And Wamu, he's a very good villain. He's a very good character. He kills my boy Caesar. Wamu's a very good character. He's not quite an S. But, you know, I'll put him up there with Dio from part 1. Because he's a very likable villain. He affects the story pretty well. And you know what? You just love him. You can't just not love Wamu, right? So next we have AC/DC. Now, I didn't really like AC/DC. I guess there was that kind of funny fight where he just starts crying, unless I'm talking about the wrong one. But I'm pretty sure that's AC/DC that just starts crying in the fight. I think he's a B tier. That's pretty fair. I don't really like him too much. He didn't really impact the story, as far as I can remember, as much as Wamu or Cars. So yeah, I feel like a B tier is pretty fair for him. So now we're on to Cars. You already know where I'm putting Cars. That is obviously an S tier villain. Cars affects the story so much. He has this epic final villain status of literally being invincible, and he gets sent into space. Like what else? What could you not love about Cars, right? So anyways, we are now moving on to part 3, which is going to be Dio for part 3. Now Dio for part 3, S tier. Obviously, Dio has to be one of the best villains, especially part 3 Dio. He is such a good character. The story flows so well with Dio. And what's not to love about Dio? He's thick, he's blonde, he can stop time. Like, come on, that's just like S tier villain status right there. So anyways, now we're going to be going on to part 4 villain, which is going to be Kira Yoshikage. And wow, this is really hard because I love Kira, right? To me, Kira is an S tier, just right away. Just, I love Kira. But I feel like Kira really isn't on the same level as part 3 Dio and Cars. But I'm going to put him in S tier anyways because I'm indecisive. And he's either an A or an S. And my brain is just automatically going to S because I love Kira so much. Like, he's such a good character. Anyways, we're going to go to part 5. Diablo. I fucking love Diablo. Diablo is such a good character. God, this tier list is going to be like all S's. I swear to fucking God. He's such a good character. Like, if you don't like Diablo, then what is wrong with you? Diablo is like the saving point for part 5 for me because I don't really like part 5 that much. But Kira is such a good, like, villain. S tier. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. So now we have part 6 and we have Poochie, the priest Poochie. This is really hard because I love part 6. Part 6 is like one of my favorite parts. It's in the top 3. But, like, I can't have every character S tier, but I can because it's my tier list. But, I mean, Poochie, he's, like, such a good character. I think I have to put him... And, like, you know, him kind of ending the whole universe and restarting it and shit. Like, he's, like, he's, like, the Chad villain. He is an S-tier villain. Like, what am I even on about not putting him in S-tier? He's obviously an S-tier villain. There's nothing around that. So now, we have the poo-poo villain. We have Valentine. Valentine's ability is pretty cool, but I did not like Part 7. Part 7 did not click for me. I think Valentine's a C. I think Valentine's a C tier. He's not interesting to me. You know, he's like, what, the 48th president or 46th president of the United States in the story. He can, like, swap dimensions. He has an ultimate form, whatever. He's just not that cool. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of sad that AC/DC is better than Valentine, in my opinion, but I don't like him. I don't like Valentine. That's all there is, okay? There's nothing else I can say about it except that I don't really like him. He didn't click. So now, we are finally on Toru. Definitely not Kakyoin. I did not mean to put him in D tier. Okay. Well, Toru is not a D tier for me. I think Toru is a solid A tier. Toru is such a good villain. He's very smart and decisive about his battle decisions. And he, like, no one knows that he's the villain until, like, the last 10 chapters. It's fucking crazy. You know, we find him very suspicious, obviously, towards the end, but we don't really know that he's like the main villain, and he's in the story for the last 40 chapters, and we don't know that he's like a villain at all until like chapter 100. It's fucking crazy. Toru is just like such a good villain in that respect, and I give him all my respect. He's my baby boy, and he's definitely not Kakyoin. So yeah, there we have it. That is my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Villains tier list. What do you guys think? Do you think that maybe I fucked up on some of this, because I'm still indecisive. I'm still a little indecisive about maybe Kira, maybe AC/DC and Wamu. Maybe they could swap. In Part 1, Dio definitely. But I don't know where to put him. I just kind of put him to where my brain wants him to go. But, like, I know that doesn't seem right. Like, it doesn't seem like Part 1 Dio should be an A. Like, maybe he should be B, maybe he should be an S. But I feel like he's just not... His performance in the show didn't captivate me, okay? He got, like, maybe a 70 out of 100 in the performance kind of area, you know what I mean? But, yeah, that was my tier list. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.